My family did not come from high-end white collar. It was all blue collar. I did construction, logging, commercial real estate, landscaping, all these different things, but nothing in the real business world. So it was a totally new concept to me. I was foreign to it. However, I had a passion and I was like, I got to figure this out. I saw other people in companies becoming very successful and helping protect families all across America. And I was like, I want to be that person. But the journey was not easy. A lot of us see success as, you only see the actual shiny object, but you don't see the journey to get there. And that was the hardest part for me. I wanted it yesterday, instant gratification, like we all do. I'm going to create this business. I'll become rich right away. Everything will work out. Well, it took a long time and we're still learning, but I literally started from absolutely zero to building a multi-seven-figure agency. I mean, you remember when you were 22, the most important thing in my life at that time was enough money for beer and dirt bike gas. And that's what I did. But I slowly started changing my mindset. And that was the biggest key, is learning about mindset. And it's talked about all the time in business, but it's so true and so very important. I read the book, Think and Grow Rich, and it was probably the first book I ever read all the way through. And at first I was like, this is like magic. This is, hoopla. This is crazy. How can your thoughts affect reality and all these different things? But I just dove deep into it, and it helped to change my mindset and the belief systems that I was anchored down to before, which were completely different. The life insurance was really a passion for me because I could see the inherent value, right? I don't charge people any money. I help them with the solution that they need, and I get compensated by the insurance company. What a win-win. And I thought it'd be really easy. I remember writing down on a whiteboard, hey, this is my goal to make my first $250,000. And I wrote out how many policies I'd have to sell, how many people I'd have to talk to. I had this whole formula mapped out. I was like, I'm going to hit this in 1 year. Well, fast forwarding, it took me 5 years just to make 100,000, and it took me 7 years to hit that 250,000. But at least I hit it. But it took me a lot longer than I thought. And I think that's one of the #1 lessons of entrepreneurship is the timing. A lot of us see on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube that it happens overnight. You see people taking pictures in front of Ferraris that's not even theirs, or they're renting a house studio out and showing you that that's their house, and it's not. So a lot of this success takes an enormous amount of time. So the way I started is I used to go door knocking. Now, if any of you are intimidated or scared, being an entrepreneur, you got to get over that, right? You have to be willing what others aren't willing to do to have what others aren't willing to get, okay? And that's the biggest lesson that I learned. So I started door knocking and saying, knock, knock, you want to buy any life insurance? Literally, virtually that straightforward. And guess how many no's I got? A lot. And I used to sit at Starbucks and wait for people to walk in. And I'd ask them, hey, look, can you give me your opinion on this marketing piece? And I was 23 at this time, 24. And they would say, yeah, sure, why not? You're just a kid. You're doing a marketing piece for a company. I'll take a look at it. And it happened to be a hook for life insurance. And so for every 10 people that would sit down with me, one of them would say, how does this actually work? If I got 10 of those people to say, how does it actually work? I'd usually make one sale. And so that's what I did. But by doing that process and sticking with it, I met a gentleman that worked at a real estate company. He goes, you know what? I have a friend that also sells insurance. Maybe you two should partner up. Long story short, I ended up partnering up with this person, and that helped skyrocket my career. And I would have never had that opportunity unless I was putting in the groundwork. And there's a big difference between busy work and productive work. And I learned that quickly because it's so easy to just waste your time. I kept time auditing myself. And I said, okay, look, if I'm going to spend an hour researching about insurance, I'm going to do that at night when I can't talk to anybody. But during the day, I'm going to spend that time outreaching, because the more people that you can get in front of, the better the opportunity is. You see, I learned quickly that I can't control what somebody says, but I can control my outreach, okay? And so I was controlling my own activity, and I knew that the numbers would work out for themselves. And this is applicable in any business structure. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Most businesses all involve some level of sales. Even if you're doing technology, you have to get in front of somebody to buy that service. And so it's applicable all across the board. My path just happened to be insurance. You have to be consistent with it and get in front of more people. I was listening to another podcast, Alex Hermosi, and he mentioned about Queen Elizabeth. And he goes, you know, she died. When's the last time you thought about her? I was like, wow, that's very interesting. Regardless of the political opinions, she's probably one of the most influential women in the world and was so for many, many years. But yet we don't think about her anymore. I'm like, well, who am I? I'm a speck of sand on the beach compared to her. Why do I care what my friends or family think or colleagues or either other prospects out there about my content? So I just stopped caring. I was like, hey, look, I want to do this. I want to get in front of more people. This is an easy medium to do so. And I just started putting myself out there and branding myself. And now after years of doing so, I have a very nice online presence, which helps with the selling and the facilitation of gaining new clients, because now I have credibility. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, or you're just thinking about becoming one, you have to think about branding and credibility. And especially now with the online presence, it's a lot easier to do it, but it's also a lot easier to have your reputation damaged. So you got to be cautious about it. But go out there, buy your own domain, create your own website, talk about yourself and your story, because people want to learn more about you. People don't buy products, they buy people. And I learned that quickly, especially in the insurance space, right? Because it's literally just paper and promises. There's not a physical box or a physical product other than the policy. It's not like you're ordering shoes online. And you got to work on getting reviews. And you can start slowly by helping your family members out, having them write reviews, asking for reviews from other people. Just say, hey, I'd love your honest review and your honest opinion. You can do that on Yelp and Google My Business. Those are both free, doesn't cost you anything. You create a LinkedIn profile, free, doesn't cost you anything. Twitter or X, whatever they call it now, Facebook, Instagram, you can do all these free things. And they work for you in tenfold, because when people search your name or your business, those will automatically come up as free SEO. A lot of people miss out on that. So when you're grassrooting things, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on marketing. What you have to spend a lot of on is your time. So you can use your time as the marketing dollars in the beginning. Don't be afraid to reinvest in yourself. Because if you keep putting the time in and going to networking events, a lot of people say, I'm not going to go to a networking event. Well, you should. Back in the day, it was called meetup.com. Now we have like Eventbrite, right? So I used to go to meetup.com. I go to everything regarding financial services, real estate, banking, tax advice, wills and trusts, everything I could, because you get to meet people there that are spending time out of their day to learn something. And how does the conversation go? Hi, my name is Roy. What's your name? What do you do? Okay. And that's how you can start networking and building opportunities at virtually no cost, even the Chamber of Commerce. So it doesn't matter what you're selling. That's an easy way to get your name out there. I used to handwrite cards to attorneys because I wanted to sit down with them and tell them, look, I can do the life insurance when you help your clients out with wills and trusts. I write a card out, mail it to them, handwritten with a stamp. Maybe takes you an hour. You could do 50 people in an hour. You send it out. You offer to take them out to lunch to learn more about how a potential relationship between the two of you can work. I did that for years, and I built many great referral partnerships and lots of business. That line of business has probably made me over $1 million by spending time writing out cards. So a lot of people get bogged down. I need all this money for marketing. I need this huge budget. I need this. You really don't. You got to find the people in your industry that are either aligned with you or that can complement what you're already selling, and go after reaching out to them by sending them a card. And you know why you do it handwritten? Because nobody does it. Every time you get a no, you're just that much closer to your next yes. And so after years of doing that, I started building up this referral network where I would have people coming to me to buy insurance. I wasn't chasing them. Okay. And that's what you could do in your practice. You want clients and customers to come find you and buy your product or services instead of you chasing them. One of the old adages is there's the bee and the flower, right? You want to be the flower. The bees come to the flower. Okay. And if you have that type of persona, that aura, then you don't come off as desperate or needy, which is hard to do in the very beginning because what we call in our industry is commission breath, right? Agents get too excited. They try to sell something to somebody and the people can sense it, right? Like you need to make a sale, right? And I've been there, right? I've lived through it. But the more confident that you are in the conversation and what you're doing, the easier it will flow to you. I used to mentally visualize all of my appointments and how they would go. And it is absolutely scary that it would, for the most part, be exactly how I visualized it. Like there's just sometimes I knew I wasn't going to get anything out of it, but I already committed. And that's what happened. Other times, like, this is what's going to happen. This is the option they're going to choose. And this is how it's going to work. And it did. Okay. So you also want to visualize your next steps in meeting with a client or a consumer and do your research on them. I think this is where the laziness of an entrepreneurship journey comes in because you don't have to do anything. You won't make any money, but you don't have to do anything. So going the extra mile is rare in today's entrepreneurship journey. But if you do that, it'll make you much different.